I'd like to put it first to Chris. Can we come back down this way?
Sure. I'm against compulsory ID cards. My own personal position is that I would actually like to have an ID card myself. I would like to pay the £30 and have one. That is my own personal view. No one has told me to say this. No one has set me up. This is actually my personal view. I would like to have an ID card. Okay. So I'll go into the reasons why if you want in a moment. But just to answer the second question there. This is the second part of the question. If I buy an ID card, how can I stop my data being used for people to attack me, or for any other group if they had chosen to buy an ID card? I think we need to be absolutely certain that every single possible safeguard is in place. If you think of what's in place now on the passport database, there is the biometric information which measures the photo mapping. That is already in the hands of the government. So with the ID card, okay, it will also have, in addition to what the passport has, it will have my address and it will have my date of birth. That is information that, I mean, for me, I'm more worried about what the store cards and those sorts of people would know about me than I am about some other groups. So I just want to make sure that if anything in the hands of the government, such as the passport database and such as any potential new ID card database, is known and it's absolutely clear how that can be accessed.
Okay. Craig, would you like to?
Yeah, I actually don't want an ID card because I know who I am already. I don't need anything to remind me. I think the idea of it is not going to be compulsory, but you have to have one if you want to get a passport or to do anything else. So, you know, it's so typical of government spin that it's just sickening. And the idea that you start with a vulnerable group like foreign students as though having to have an ID card I think, I've told you before, I think the terrorist threat is vastly exaggerated. Were anyone actually a terrorist, it's not going to stop them by the fact they have to have an ID card. If you accept the conventional story of what happened on 9/11, and I personally actually do mostly accept the conventional story of what happened on 9/11, those people all had passports. If it had their biometric details on the passports, it would have made no difference whatsoever. The idea of this is all anti-terrorist prevention is completely utter nonsense. This obsession of government with obtaining information on this way, it is funny. It's funny because it's ludicrous, but it's a dangerous lunacy that threatens all of us, and it must be stopped.
I'll hope that the first part of your question, sir, was answered, which is that I firmly oppose the ID cards, whether they were voluntary or compulsory. I think if compulsory, they would have been a terrible infringement of our liberties as we have had them for centuries. And if voluntary, I think they would be even more of a white elephant than they currently are. So I hope that answers the first part of your question. On the second, about how we should ensure databases aren't used to target particular groups in society, I really sympathise with where you're coming from, and I'm highly supportive of a lot of things that Amnesty International does. And I think you're quite right that we should not be opening up fronts, if you like, in what the government tries to do that can be used to harm, whether it be refugees in this country or any others. What I would therefore do, my personal action in that, if elected as your next MP, would be to vote within, I hope, a Conservative government, perhaps after the next general election, certainly, and unfortunately not perhaps after this by-election, but I would vote with a Conservative government to do, as I say, the very first thing coming through that door, which is to tear up that legislation on ID cards. That is my personal contribution, and I know that the party for which I stand says the same. I'll just add that actually, in some ways, I agree with a little bit of what Craig has said, that information is only as good as as what you do with it. And actually, what I think is really important there is the point in your question about databases, and that is that we have a record in this current government of a number of big, unwieldy databases that creep over what they're originally supposed to do, that creep over the cost, and that bog us down. They are not the core business of government that it should be doing, and they do everybody a disservice by diverting money and resources away from doing what government should be doing, which is helping, in many cases, the poorest in society and the most vulnerable. Examples of those databases would be Contact Point, the NHS data, the very large NHS database, which is steadily going over budget and over time. Other examples actually is this ID card database that is the best of all. That is one which we do not need and which I fear would use our information in an incorrect, improper, illiberal and incompetent way. So I hope I stand with you on your concern.